As within, so without. Greetings. It's your boy Johnny, previously from Delaware Valley Skywatch. The new name and moniker, Oracles of the Awakening. I changed the photo as well. And guys, do you see that emblem that is now serving as the Oracle's official emblem? I believe that emblem right there is one we can all rally behind. And I was just curious, if I was to make shirts with that emblem on it, the as above, so below tree emblem, where the roots are growing down into the ground. If I was to make shirts with that emblem on the front, we could, we could have your name on the front, and then on the back, you'd have the emblem, and on top it would say O period, T period, A period. Oracles of the Awakening. And then underneath it would have just say FAM, F-A-M, underneath the symbol. So once again, you would have your name on the front left breast. On the back, it would have the emblem, O-O-T-A. And then on the bottom, it would say FAM. How many of you would rock that shirt? How many of you would be proud to be part of the family? Because I'm telling you now, we all need something to rally behind and a symbol to get underneath and a way to identify one another. There's too much division in the truther community, way too much. And that's why I like to stay away from topics like the flat earth. And Christianity was another one I would stay away from, but I can't stay away from it anymore. It's just way too pervasive. And like I've said it before, I'll say it again. It seems like people really want the book of Revelations, that narrative. They're going to intend that into fruition. People really want that narrative. Don't ask me why. I mean, out of the whole New Testament, that's the one book that is very uncharacteristic of all the other books, of all the other messages. The book of Revelation seems like it belongs in the Old Testament, does it not? With its doom and gloom and pissed off creator and the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and as if there isn't already enough death and destruction and pain and horror. I don't get it, Why would what is Jesus waiting for to come back? How much pain and suffering and evil does there have to be in the world? Because we're all encompassed by it now, by evil. And to me, it's preposterous to think that our Savior is waiting for certain signs and things to come to fruition and for the third temple to be built. And I said it in other videos too. Don't you think the elites foam at the mouth over this story, or that they're the ones that created it somehow down the line? I mean, they get off on evil. They get off on stories like that. So like I said before, they might even if the intention doesn't bring it into fruition, they're going to bring it into fruition anyway, because it fits their script for evil. Anyway, guys, the title of this video is to get our own houses in order. And what I mean by that is we need to work on ourselves, and we need to stop pointing the finger and stop saying, well, I don't believe in this guy because of this. I don't believe in that guy because of this. Listen, no two truthers or awakened, enlightened folk are going to believe the same things about every single thing. Let me say that again. No two truthers are going to believe the same exact things about everything. You might have very similar beliefs with somebody about a lot of stuff, like me and Sherry. Sherry's my girl. We believe the same about a whole lot of things, but I'm sure somewhere along the line we disagree about something. That's just the nature of humans. My truth is going to be different than your truth. I experience this all the time, especially with the non-metaphysical truthers. And Sherry knows exactly who I'm referring to. To me, once again, just like I think being a Christian is an oxymoron when it comes to being awoke, so is these people who think that there is no afterlife and that this is all there is, and they are atheists and don't believe in the metaphysical at all. They think that there's a cabal of men sitting in a room somewhere scheming out everything that you see. They don't think that archonic entity parasites are the ones behind this ingenious evil. They think that men in a room create it. I've been told by the very same individuals that targeting is a product of myself. Targeting is a product of my own imagination or of myself. It's hysterical. Yeah. So we need to work on ourselves and get our own houses in order. And how do we do that? Through Gnosis, Gnosticism, once again, self-knowledge, self-discovery. You have to dig deep, people. You got to dig deep. Most people are not willing to put in the work that it takes to get the Gnosis. Damn, I got something in my mouth. I mean, it's damn hard work. Damn hard work. Changing. You know, being introspective, looking in the mirror, not liking what you see, and acknowledging it and changing. Another thing I've noticed is many people who are awake are recovering addicts, recovering drug addicts, or they suffer from targeting. That's another huge aspect of all this, the targeting. You know, and I've done a couple of videos on the targeting in the past. I'm a targeted individual. The only way I can describe it to you people is as supernatural bad luck. No one person can have the kind of bad luck that I've had. Time and time and time and time again. It's just impossible. So I've been working on, you know, changing, I guess, the karmic balance of my own actions. You know, I'm a recovering drug addict myself. Which drug, you ask? All of them, at one point or another. I started smoking marijuana, which I do not think is a drug. Cannabis, I still partake every day. It's a gift from God, in my opinion. Raises my consciousness and my awareness. But I started with the pot at 15. Then I got into the psychedelics, 16, 17, 18, you know, tripped so many times, I burned myself out. I'm not lying to you when I tell you that I tripped over LSD because it was so cheap and you got off for so long and you could party like a rock star on it. I've had many, many good trips and I've had just as many bad ones. I won't even look at LSD anymore. I've been there and done it and don't need to go there anymore. But what I do want to do is I'm going to learn how to cultivate and grow psilocybin cubensis mushrooms. And I have to smoke it right. Make this thing called a machine, I think. It's like out of a little liquor bottle you're supposed to make it to smoke it out of, and I smoked it out of a light bulb, and it burned the living shit out of my lungs. I mean, to the point where I couldn't even inhale it. So I'm sure I ended up wasting a lot of it. Man, a piece of freaking something in my mouth. Yeah, so I ended up wasting a lot of it, and I didn't see any visuals. My body got really, really heavy. Like almost like I was walking underwater, you know what I mean? Like that force, but I didn't see any visuals. I've had some excellent mushroom trips. Never really had a bad mushroom trip. I've had to get hairy. You know, I had to get wiggy and talk myself out of it. And what I used to really love was mescaline. I used to do these things in high school called microdots. They look like barrels, double barrels, double stackers we would call them. They were purple and pink and blue. And these things would make you laugh so hard, I would literally piss my pants. I'm not kidding you guys. I would literally piss my pants from laughing so hard from these mescaline, which is ultimately peyote. You know, not as very small doses of it, but yeah, you would get similar feeling to mushrooms. You would get, you know, real giggly and laughy, and things would seem to breathe, you know what I mean? And you could see how everything's connected. When you're tripping on psychedelics, you know that everything is connected. You know it. It just resonates with you in such a way that it's pretty incredible. And you know what? I haven't tripped since I've been awakened. I was awakened in 2012, and I have not had any psychedelics since then. I did smoke the DMT, but I did it wrong and didn't get its full benefits. So I am dying to trip again. So if anybody is watching this out there and you have access to psychedelics, please let me know in the comments, or let me know in this, you know, live talk, and I will send you my email and we need to hook up. But I am watching videos and learning how to grow psilocybin cubensis, and I'm going to grow it. Marijuana, cannabis takes up too much space to grow, because you can grow a shit ton of mushrooms in a little space. But yeah, we got to get our own houses in order before we start going and pointing the other finger at other people. You know, I'm guilty of it at times too. But so much knowledge out there on the internet now, there's really no excuse to remain ignorant of certain things. You know, to tell you about the weather today, look, this should tell you everything. Can you see that? Can you see how brutal them trails are? Let me open this up. You guys see that? Here's what it looks like. Alright, now, it was sunny all day yesterday. Obviously, they can't just straight up have it gray all the time. They're conditioning you, doing a little bit at a time. You know, like each year it seems like it gets a little grayer and a little grayer. They're conditioning you. They can't have it go complete gray out overnight. So I notice what they do is in the morning they'll have it gray, and then they'll have the sun pop out for an hour or two in the afternoon, or vice versa. It was gray all morning. Oh, here you go. Here's another slow flying plane that's completely... That is not an arrival or a departing trail right there. That is completely out of character, what you're saying. That should not be there, that plane. It should be down on the river. It's because it's not a plane. What it is, I can't exactly tell you guys. I have my hunches. I think it's either a hologram or an interdimensional entity. I'm not really sure which yet. Lean more towards the interdimensional entity. I do believe there's a Project Bluebeam that exists. Like, look where this plane, look, where is it going? Look at it. Now it's speeding up. That's crazy. Speeds up, slows down, stops, all kinds of wacky shit. See that shit? I bet you when we turn this corner, it's still hanging out. You want to bet? Oh, look at that. I caught him. See him down there hanging out? You're going to lose him now. This is the area, people, where I always film them. They're always over the stadium for some odd, strange reason right here as I'm coming down 76, leaving the city, going into Jersey. So check it out. Right over there is where I always record them. See how gray the sky is? That is the new norm. That is the new norm. Looks like we got some kind of action up there. I'm not sure what, but look at that. And what's odd is, too, here, I'm going to let you guys in on another little secret. I told you guys in my other video the other day that I have a Merkaba in my vision. Yep, I got a Merkaba that I got while sun gazing during the eclipse. And my eyes got really bad for a few weeks, and then when they got better, I had this Merkaba. And it's always there. I don't always see it, but I can see it whenever I really want to. Whenever I pay really close attention, I can see it. Well, the oddest thing is, Whenever I see these craft or whatever the hell they are, interdimensional entities, the Merkaba is always directly right over it. Like right now, my Merkaba is right over that thing. Maybe it's some kind of weird spidey sense, I don't know. But it's definitely telling me that this is not what it seems. Always over the stadium. Isn't that the oddest goddamn thing? Look at that. Look at that. I think it's getting some kind of power from there. It must be a huge power source. Look at that. Is that not odd as shit? Yeah, strange world we live in. Yeah, guys. The more awake you become and the more conscious you become of reality, the stranger it seems to get. That being said, I have an entire catalog of entities, yes, of interdimensional, plasma-based, or holographic-based entities, archonic entities. I have a whole catalog of pictures that I've personally taken. And there is a trick to capturing them. If you guys want to know the trick, I'll tell you. But anytime you want to see pictures of these entities, just email me. JOHNFEDOR44@gmail.com. I also have a Facebook page. It's called Oracles of the Awakening. If you guys want to follow me on Facebook and want to converse on there. Oracles of the Awakening. And my personal page, you'll find me on there as well. John Fedor, F-E-D-O-R, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm an open book, people. I'm here to grow and learn with you guys. I'm not some guru who claims to know everything. I'm just some jerk off with a phone and act. You know, I just got knocked out. It's typical. They just knocked the communication out for a while. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, to be honest with you. But I've been getting positive feedback from my videos, so I'm going to keep on doing them. Hopefully, you know, what I'm saying resonates with you guys. I'm going to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I mean, I think I've already put a lot of the pieces together. There's definitely a battle going on between good and evil. It's raging. And I'm going to tell you now, good is not winning. Not by a long shot. People, the NPCs, I like to call them, or the organic portals, or the synths, or the soulless ones. So many of them out there, just consumers. You know, it's so maddening to try to tell a consumer the truth of what our reality is. They do not want to hear it, and they will call you crazy and hang on to their beliefs at all costs. That's very, very irritating. But trying to think if there's anything else in my mind. Hey, what's up? Underneath the CD screen on the dome, I believe that the Archons can manipulate at will. Because I'm going to tell you now, I think that our weather is being manipulated by these Archons. I don't think, maybe there's human aspects of it, but I personally have witnessed these fake planes are the ones that are doing the chemtrailing and the spraying. Not real planes, holographic fake ones, shape-shifting orbs. Yeah, I told you, the more awake you get, the more bizarre things seem to get. I can still remember the first time realizing that it wasn't planes doing the spraying. You know how I came to this conclusion? By recording it for myself. And then going back and looking at the recording and pressing pause and then moving it a frame at a time and watching these craft shape-shift and cloak. That's what they do. They cloak as planes. The one I just recorded back here, it's a cloak. It's not a real plane. It's so hard for people to wrap their head around, but for me, it's common. It's common knowledge for most of the people I talk to. I mean, it's not even a topic we discuss anymore. It's just common knowledge, My current hot topic has been this blood over intent. And I've seen a really good video where this gentleman, did a couple pages of blood over intent. How he no longer will be under a contract to media or banking and this and that. I thought it was ingenious. I'm actually going to use that as a template to do my own. But I'm going to do it right, people. When I decide to do the blood over intent, I'm going to fast for an entire day and get myself right. That's just how I am. I either do everything, I'm all in or I'm all out. It's like that when I was getting high, too. When I was all through my 20s. All right, I got sidetracked. I was telling you guys my story. I started smoking cannabis at 15, 16. I was an everyday smoker by 17. Got into the psychedelics hardcore. We were tripping every weekend. In high school. Then got into cocaine. Went on my senior year in high school, we were on a major cocaine tear. Always doing coke. And, I played football, too. I was an athlete. This was after hours, after the football game on Friday night. We go to a party and get an 8-ball. But cocaine is the stupidest drug. It's so not fun. Like, I look back on it now. There was nothing fun about that drug. Everybody whispers and gets serious. Nobody ever smiles on it. It's one of the stupidest drugs. And then I got introduced to pills and perks and Xannies. I was a big Xanax head, man. I loved my downers when I was younger. And I'll never forget it, the first time that my Xanax dealer came around and is like, man, you got to try these OCs, Oxycontin. He wanted $20 for a 40 milligram Oxycontin. And at that time, the only thing that cost $20 was an E-pill. I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. $20. He's like, trust me, just try it. What a bad move that was. That started a 7-year Oxycontin opiate tear. I mean, I was a hopeless addict. I had to have 280s a day just so I wasn't sick. So, of course, I started doing heroin because it was cheaper. And the heroin around here, there's a city called Camden. It's a tiny city in South Jersey, but it was the worst city in the country for many years per capita. I think there was like 380 murders one year, and there's only 100,000 citizens. Some wild shit, but it had some of the best heroin in the country. That and a place over in Philly called the Badlands, Kensington. Kensington, too, had some really, really potent heroin. Heroin that kills people that they cut with fentanyl, drops you like flies. But, yeah, all throughout my 20s, bad opiate addict. I would do anything from fentanyl to Vicodin, whatever I could get my hands on. I would shoot heroin at times, because it was cheaper. And then I had something tragic happen to me. My fiance, who I was madly in love with, who we had been together for 5 years, I found her dead on Christmas Day, 2004. I was a big mover and shaker of Oxycontin, one of the biggest in South Jersey at one time. And I got a warning from a friend of mine who had another friend who worked for the Gloucester County Prosecutor's Office here in New Jersey. Now, my buddy Steve was locked up in prison in Southwoods here. He was a cop, and he shot his gun off in a black neighborhood, apparently to scare these black kids. And they made an example out of him. He got 5 years in prison. So I would go and see him when he was locked up, put money in his commissary. Well, his best friend, this dude Bird, is the one that worked for a prosecutor's office. And he knew that I was a good kid, that I was just into some wrong shit. So he told Steve to tell me, look, I'm giving you one chance to tell John to stop selling. They're watching him. They're building a case against him. That's all I had to hear. So I went straight to the methadone clinic, which was one of the worst mistakes of my life. And I went on methadone, liquid handcuffs. And what ended up happening was I had take-home bottle because of Christmas. And, you know, my fiance at the time had watched me self-destruct for 5 years, and she was dealing with her own demons and depression and alcoholism. Well, what ended up happening was we were over at Mom and Dad's for Christmas Eve, as that was custom, partying. And my ex was getting pretty drunk, and I'm like, come on, Chris, it's time to go home. We got to go home. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And she was being belligerent. And I finally got her father to help me get her into the car. And we got home, and we were arguing the whole way home, and me and her never argued. I mean, never. And I went to bed, and what happened was she stayed up, took a key, and broke into my lockbox. And took my bottle of methadone and drank the whole thing, unbeknownst to me. And I woke up Christmas morning and found her face down on the floor, and I rolled her over, and she was blue, and it started the worst nightmare of my entire life. It's a nightmare I can't even describe to you people. I didn't even get clean right away. You know, I stayed on the methadone for another 6 months, and then worked up enough balls to get off of it, and I went on Suboxone. And then I was doing great on Suboxone, and I had an accident at work where I fell 25 feet and I shattered my heel. 16 places I shattered it. So I went back on the Roxy 30s, and within 2 weeks I was eating handfuls of them again. 5, 6 at a clip. So I did the same thing when it was time to come off of them. I went on the subs and I tapered down. And I can tell you, to this day, it's been 11 years since I've messed around with any opiates. Over 11 years. But, you know, the other shit, you know, I still partied, did coke here and there, pills here and there. Then I got on Adderall for ADD later on in life, in my later 30s, around 35, 36. I'm 40, I'm going to be 41 next month. And the Adderall is pretty much speed, pharmaceutical speed. I also started working with another guy who sold crystal methamphetamine. So you can see where this is headed. Yep, ended up developing a bad crystal meth habit, and I like to smoke it. That was my way of favorite way of administration, smoking it. But I've shot it and sniffed it and all that other crap. And I'm proud to say that it's only been within the last few months that I've really given it up and said goodbye to it. I can honestly say for the first time in my life, I'm telling the truth. You know, I don't want that life anymore. So that's what I mean by getting our own houses in order. You know what I mean? You can't be a hypocrite. You gotta walk the walk and talk the talk. And that's why I'm trying to be an open book on here, people, to show you that I am trying to walk the walk and talk the talk. And that I've been down some really, really dark paths. And I've had to deal with some really, really dark things. Dark things happen to me. So, yeah, that's just my message today. I'm not going to harp on anything else. I just want to say that we got to get our own houses in order. How do you go about doing that? It's not through religion. I'm sorry to say it. It's through self-knowledge, gnosis, inner knowledge. Look, if you guys want to keep on being Christians, that's your prerogative. If you want to keep on being a Hindu, that's your prerogative. Buddhist, your prerogative. I'm just telling you my truth. I could never worship a God who requires circumcision from its followers. I mean, I challenge you guys, to go on YouTube and watch a circumcision being performed. And then come back and sit here and tell me that it's not the most evil thing that you've ever seen. That and factory farming are the two most evil things I've ever seen. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I could go on and rant here and tell you why Yahweh is essentially Satan. Yes, it's been inverted. Lucifer, remember the serpent? The serpent and Lucifer to me are two different entities, but the serpent in the garden, who lied? Did Yahweh lie, or the Elohim, or did the serpent lie? Yeah, I know what you've been programmed to believe. I know that the serpent lied. I'm going to ask you again, who lied? What did Yahweh say? Do not eat of this tree, for ye will surely die. What did the serpent say? You won't die. You will become as gods, and your eyes will be opened. You'll be able to distinguish, good from evil, just like God does. What happened? Did Adam and Eve die? Or were they able to distinguish between good and evil? The truth is right there in front of your faces, guys. It's always been right there in front of your face, but the programming is tough when it comes to Christianity and the Bible. And once again, I don't have anything against Yeshua ben David, other than the fact that he links himself to Judaism, which to me is the synagogue of Satan, Satan, the adversary. But I've harped on that enough. I don't want to sow any hatred. It's not a hatred for people, it's a hatred for the programming. It drives me nuts. Because once you're in that trap, you can't get out. And I see how so many so-called truthers claim to be awake and open-minded, yet always have that Judeo-Christian spin. Always. So, there is that. Richie from Boston. Who else? Mario. Stranger Than Fiction, is that his name? I can't remember all these other guys, but I'm on the road heading out to a job I gotta go look at that I did last year, a torch down roof job. Supposedly an HVAC guy was up there and seen something that could become a problem. So I'm headed out here to see if I can stop the problem before anything happens. Anyway, guys, let me know if these chats are of any use, if these live vids are of any use. I appreciate the feedback. Love and light, hope to you all. I love you. Come join the fam. God bless.